Greetings, salutations, and assorted hellos to you. Welcome to this, the 27th episode of Let's Play Descent. You'll recall last time we destroyed every single mine on Mars and we're on our way to the planet Mercury this time, except no it's not that game, it's another one. It's a joke, haha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha.
Select a difficulty. Going into combat.
This is HQ to Storm 1. Infiltrate the underground base from this hole. Secure the area around the hole for the units that will come after you.
This is no place to die! Do what you need to survive! I'm out!
This pit's full of bugs! They're defending this place with their lives!
Somebody cover me! Yeah, you're welcome!
Storm 1, Storm 2, secure the bottom of the pit.
Captain, we're under you.
Storm 2, copy that.
Welcome to the pit. Here we are in the mission Descent 1, released in 1994 in EU territories for MS-DOS. No wait, I've already made that joke.
Storm 1, there is a large group of aliens in the pit. Eliminate them.
Just a scratch.
In reality, of course, this mission is ripped straight from Earth Defense Force 2 / Global Defense Force. There's that in the corner right now. Just a little aside here, in the future I'm probably going to just refer to that game as Earth Defense Force 2, as the two new entries in the series that are coming out, both of them of course re-releases / remakes of older titles, are actually adhering to the original Japanese numbering, just like Final Fantasy VII did. Another minor correction: in a previous video I stated that there was only one underground map in this game. They just blocked off bits to make it seem like there was more. Well, that is wrong, and I don't know why I thought that was the case, because that wasn't even the case in Earth Defense Force 2. There's two maps, they're distinct. There's the grey one and the brown one. We are in the brown one. It doesn't seem terribly brown at the moment, but I assure you further down it is much more brown. Although not exactly the same, the two underground maps that appeared in Earth Defense Force 2 are very reminiscent of the two that appear in this game. Very similar design. The main feature of the brown map, of course, is this large central chamber. Rather tall, and with a series of escalating bridges, allowing you to climb from the bottom to the top, or vice versa, in the most usual manner of climbing. The brown map in Earth Defense Force 2 featured a subway tunnel section, with a loop of train tracks interrupted by rubble and holes into this underground system. Strangely, the train tunnels actually appeared at the bottom of this particular brown map, below the large pit, indicating that the subway system was deeper in the earth than the ant's nest was, which is a weird detail. A train station at that depth would require an immensely long escalator. Underground missions would go on to make a reappearance in Earth Defense Force 4. Once again, there was a brown map and a grey map, with pretty similar roles, although they were much more visually distinct and different in design than the maps that appeared in Earth Defense 2 and 3. The subway tunnels made a reappearance in Earth Defense Force 4. Not only were they relocated to the top of the map above a similar pit with bridges like this section, but there was also an entranceway to the surface added in the form of a shopping precinct with a big bloody great hole in it. Well, we run out of ants, so that's the end of the mission. Unlike the last two times, there's no order to retreat, so our next mission shall in fact be deeper into the underground nest, in the darkness where the ants do live. Let's get weapons and let's get on with that. Now let's read the description for Descent Part 2.
Selected going into combat.
Storm 1, Ranger 23 is in combat directly ahead of you. Assist them.
Unfortunately, it turns out that Data is in fact working with his evil robot brother. And I'm starting to think we shouldn't have left Beverly in charge of the Enterprise. No, wait, that's the wrong thing. Once again, we're on the brown map and there's a hell of a lot of ants here. We are just outside of the massive drop we went down last mission. And in fact, we're going to cross right across there in a minute once we've dealt with all these guys and almost killed ourselves. Whoopsie! Once again, grenade launchers prove to be very effective at killing things in these underground tunnels. Who needs to aim when you've got splash damage? This particular mission is actually a very good one for grinding out weapon unlocks on harder difficulty modes than you should be playing. Should you be into that sort of a thing. Just be careful not to accidentally kill all the EDF soldiers yourself, and hopefully they should provide enough of a distraction to get through this first wave for you. What makes this level so good for grinding out weapons is that there are a lot of enemies that will be instantly distracted by all the EDF men. There's EDF men further in the level, and the final section where all the EDF men will probably be dead, there is a little wrinkle in that which makes it easy to complete. We'll see that a bit later though.
This is Mole 2. We're deep inside the nest. We're meeting heavy resistance. Requesting backup.
One thing I like about this level is the addition of the Mole call sign in addition to the Ranger and Storm teams. I guess the Mole teams are specialised teams for going underground. After a quick non-conventional reload, we'll head over to the next objective place.
Keep going!
Yeah.
Mole 2. We're suffering heavy casualties and can't hold up much longer. Where's our backup?
It's coming, it's coming. These caves are indeed pretty dark. In Earth Defense Force 4, however, the caves were much better lit. Until Earth Defense Force 4.1 came out and made them pitch black and only viewable by torchlight. Let's hold off until we meet up with Mole 2.
Mole 2 has joined up with Storm 1. We're heading deeper into the nest.
It pays to be cautious here. Activating these enemies too quickly will result in you being in a bad spot. What we're going to do is attack them and retreat further back, trying to pull them through these two sets of tunnels and sort of choke point them a little bit. The AI in this game isn't particularly good, so standing near to EDF soldiers with rocket launchers while in these tunnels is a very poor idea indeed. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you stand roughly here, you force these enemies into two separate choke points that you can attack with explosions for massive damages.
Now's the time to deal the final blow to these alien bastards. Burn out the nest and stop them from reproducing any further. They are still continuing to multiply underground. If we ignore this any further, the Earth will be buried in alien offspring. We have to deal a devastating blow to their nest. This is a battle for humanity. We all pray for your success.
Thankfully, you don't actually take any damage from that. You're just knocked down, which is annoying. Very annoying.
We will join your ranks, Storm 1. I've been hit!
It looks like they're clustered nearby. We can't hold them off alone. Where the hell's our backup? All 1, calm down. We haven't forgotten about you. Your backup should be there soon. Stand your ground, soldier.
I don't think Hull 1 will be copying any time soon on account of being rogered by aliens. Speaking of aliens, this is a weird thing that this game does but no other game in the series does. There's no differentiation between the aliens and the insects in this game.
This is Ranger 12! There's more of them the deeper we go! We're all dead if we don't get some backup!
In Earth Defense Force 2, the giant insects were referred to as Gigantors, and the Ravagers themselves were known as the Invaders. After playing this game, however, you'd be forgiven for believing that the giant UFOs were driven by giant ants and spiders. when in fact they are simply mindless weapons designed by the Ravagers for nefarious purposes.
This is Mole 5. Lots of casualties here. We can't fight anymore. Mole 5, pull out of there. Roger that. Retreating now. Hey, up there. They're above us. Fire!
Eagle-eyed viewers may recognize this particular hole here, this tunnel entrance, if you will. During the first underground mission, whoops, let's go grab some lovely tubs. There existed a plug in that location which a pair of enemies got stuck behind. Fortunately, I do not believe any of the plugs in this game actually prevent you from visiting any location on the map. You can always take the very long way around and get in there. I very much believe that that was an intentional design decision when deciding where to place the plugs in these particular underground levels. The possibility of enemies actually being stuck in areas you cannot access was far too high for them to fully lock places off. We'll be seeing an extreme example of this in the next video, so look out for that. At the end it's all exciting, I guess. Probably not. I actually find the positioning of the plugs that they use to direct you around the level rather interesting. This is very much a budget game, and it's quite impressive how much they managed to do with just 2 underground maps. I feel like these levels have been designed to feel very samey on purpose, so that you don't realise you're covering the same ground over and over again. Right here we're being attacked through the wall. This is a little unfair, but it's also a double-edged sword in your favour. While the enemy can attack us through a wall, that also means we can attack them through a wall. Should we have brought a more powerful explosive with us, like say a Goliath rocket launcher, we could stand at the entrance of the tunnel, fire at the wall and watch all the red dots disappear on the mini-map. This is especially good on the harder difficulty levels, when completely avoiding the confrontation with the ants and spiders around the corner is very much desired. The rather simplistic AI in this game ensures that if you stay at the entrance of this tunnel, none of the insects will actually make it down the bottom and be able to get out and get at you. They will simply stand up against the wall in a sort of round central chamber. We'll see in a minute when we actually go up this tunnel. That won't be a while though, because we're gonna try and get these enemies to come out this choke point here for easy kills. That's how we do it, so that is how it is done. Speaking of grinding harder difficulties for better weapons, I love that that is a thing that you can do in this game. If you do not like the weapon progression, you can simply skip it entirely by being good enough to beat the levels on harder difficulties with lower level weapons. While this game is filled with antiquated design choices, I really feel that how they handle the difficulty setting, i.e. letting you change out what difficulty you're playing on a per level basis, is something that more games need to do. I remember on one occasion playing through a Prince of Persia game twice because I got stuck on a boss and had to basically start the game over on a less difficult mode just so I could continue with playing on. Personally, of course, I like the weapon progression in this game. I like it quite a lot, and I feel that actually skipping ahead in it will break some of the fun you'll have from playing through these difficulty modes. While you'd probably be able to 100% the game a lot quicker if you just went straight to Inferno mode weapons as soon as possible, I believe the journey there would be a lot less fun. That's just my opinion though. Well, my opinion for the lower difficulty levels, of course. I see no harm in skipping ahead a few levels in Inferno mode in order to unlock actual good Inferno mode weapons. The weapon unlock RNG can be a cruel mistress sometimes in this game, and you want to take every single advantage that you can once you're onto Inferno mode. I'm going to return to talking about the level design now. I said earlier that the level design seems purposefully vague so that you don't realise you're covering the same areas over and over again. A lot of these tunnels seem the same. The design is quite labyrinthine, with lots of places leading to lots of other places. This is especially true of the grey map. While you're likely to recognise the main landmarks in these maps, i.e. the big central chamber on this, the brown map, you probably won't notice certain other details. Like for example, this area we're about to enter here feels like we've gone further into the nest. But in actual reality, the area we're about to enter, right at the top of this tunnel, is in fact right next to the big central drop section with all the bridges. About halfway up on one side in fact. It's hidden a little bit by having a massive plug right at the top there. We can't really see it. In fact, we're not actually going to go in there very much because one ant has decided to stay down here. But still, this level feels like we've gone somewhere where in fact we've just gone in a big circle. Unless you're paying attention, you might not even notice. Less is more, they say, and less is more. Our mission is over, but our overall mission is not over. In fact, let's continue to do the things that we do with The Descent Part 3.
Select initiating operation.
Fire cannons! Prepare to fire!
The Descent Part 3 was a British horror sequel that thankfully never went into production. Descent 3, the EDF mission, is a bit of a bugger though. It also appeared in Earth Defense Force 2, as you can see in the corner here. The flamethrower weapon type seems specifically designed for this mission. As it mostly takes place in these windy tunnels, it is excellent at killing the enemies that pile up. As it pierces enemies, it can deal with them quite effectively. My main strategy for dealing with this level is to get to this specific place here. You want to go straight in front of you at the start and then turn either right and left or left and right, or some combination of right and left until you find it. It's not that hard. And once again you're presented with a pair of choke points, in which to fill with explosions and flame until the enemies stop coming at you. Staying in the central section of the map is very much not advisable, especially on harder difficulty modes. You might get away without an easy, but unless you've ground up a lot of health, you're not going to do it on the hard. Anyway, here we are deep in the nest, in what I like to call the grey map. To be fair, both of these maps are quite grey, but this one's a little bit greyer. I'm mainly going on the maps as they existed in the EDF2 because of the brown map was very brown in that one and the grey map was very grey in that one. Anyway, the grey map is very much more labyrinthine than the brown map. To be honest, I'm not actually 100% sure of the layout. I've only got a rather vague idea. There's lots and lots of tunnels, sometimes splitting off into three. It seems like a big circle, but it does have dead ends in various places. We've been in this map before. In fact, the second underground level was set here. This particular mission also makes a lie of my assertion earlier that none of these maps actually have sections blocked off by those plugs that are all around us. I believe that this, just this one mission actually restricts us to this one small area. Every exit from it is blocked apparently. There's basically a sort of circle around that central area of various tunnels. Once again, I'm not 100% sure of the layout. There's no maps online for some reason. Maybe I should try mapping it myself, or that might be an exercise in various forms of confusion. Anyway, once you've survived the start of the level and whittled down the swarm a little, it's a much easier thing to survive. Although spiders can still F you up in the beehole if you're not careful. I was not careful. Luckily there's some lovely tubs. I find it's always a good idea to bring an explosive weapon to an underground map, especially an impact one, for it is the only way to kill enemies that have managed to clip outside and start running around on the outside of the tunnels, which happens occasionally. I don't think I've caught it on video before. It's annoying to be stuck in an unwinnable situation with an unkillable enemy. I was playing through Earth Defense Force 2 recently, and I actually found on the underground levels in that game that it is possible for enemies to spawn completely outside the map. I had a spider that was at the extreme bottom of the map, just sort of, you know, chilling out, not moving, falling forever, I guess. That was annoying because I had to play the entire mission twice because the last enemy was unkillable. Our last enemy was not unkillable, so say goodbye to the flamethrower for a while. It was useful, but it is done now. Let's go. Let's finish. We're done. See you next time, perhaps.